Hello, I'm Michael with Go Be Strong, and this is our next video. We're starting a new section today called Understanding the Strength Profile. So we want to start to get into the nitty-gritty of our themes so that we can turn them into strengths. But we're going to start today with a background review because I suspect it's been a little while um, since you took the assessment. A little bit of time's gone by. I just want to come back to some of the core ideas that we covered in the first section so that you've got it in your head as we get ready to do this deeper dive. All right, no surprise, the fundamental premise for me, this is so key to everything I want to believe, is Don Clifton's quote: "What will happen when we think about what is right with people rather than fixating on what is wrong with them?" It's just such a key idea. It emphasizes that leading with positive intent and looking at people's strengths and figuring there's a good solution to every issue. So this brings me to another slide that I dragged up from the last section, which is what to expect. And what I want is for you to make time and space to go through this process. It's not a race. I've tried to make it as self-paced as possible, so that if you're in a groove, you can run with it, and if you're not, you can pause and wait until you do have time to focus on this and do some of the exercises and things like that. It's really critical that you think about some of these concepts, that you reflect on them in your own life, that you question them and say, how does this really fit, what I want and what I believe and all. But the value is not in the lessons, it's not in my words as much as it is in the work that you will do. And there'll be more work in this section. I've got several exercises that I want you to go through, and we'll get to those in a little bit. All right, so I also want to quickly review the vocabulary with you. Remember, we talked about talents and themes and strengths. Talents get grouped into themes, themes become strengths. A talent is a natural recurring pattern of thought or feeling or behavior that can be productively applied. You'll remember that Gallup found over 400 different talents when they surveyed successful people. But that was really too much to deal with, right? Certainly for them, but obviously for me too. So they broke them down into 34 themes. These are natural groupings of common and related talents. And we're going to be getting into those themes in this section. The key idea here is that by investing in the themes, you can get strengths. Particularly if you invest in your dominant themes, you get strengths. So talent plus an investment equals strength. Strengths then are the ability to consistently produce a positive outcome through near perfect performance in a specific task. It means you've taken that talent and really leveraged it and become exceptionally good at it. And that's the purpose of this course. Otherwise, I would just be teaching you the vocabulary. But the part that we really want to get to, and we started in this section and we expand on it in the next, is the idea that we identify your talents and then we start to really build on them and invest in them so that they become true strengths for you. Strengths then are the difference that make a difference, okay? The talents, they do more than just make us unique individuals, all right? They certainly distinguish us and create, uniqueness and personality and things like that. But they also give us a power and an edge. Think of it as your own unfair advantage, right? In business, we often talk about, how can you get an unfair advantage in what you're doing? Talents and when leveraged into strengths become that power and that edge that are your unfair advantage. They give you that advantage in solving problems. And that's why they are the best opportunities for success. So you invest in your talents to make them strengths that can make a difference. All right? Strengths-based development then as a type of personal development, and there's lots of other types out there, and Gallup and I both agree that there's lots of good ones out there also that can work for you. But we want to cover what exactly strengths-based development is so that you have a good understanding of it. And it starts with identifying your talents, developing them into strengths, and then circling back around to identify more talents or new nuances in the talents that you've got and continuing to develop them. So you focus on each person's strengths and you manage around their weaknesses. That's a really key idea. It's also important to remember that the best in a role deliver the same outcomes using different behaviors. Okay, so again, this was the analogy we used in the last section about the two salespeople that are both really successful, but one might be successful because they've got outstanding technical abilities and they just can really see the technical side of the sale, and others might have great relationship abilities and they are really good at that. They could be neck and neck in sales and be the best performers around, but they're doing it in different ways, and it's important to understand that concept. Only some behaviors can be learned, right? There's only so much that we can do in terms of teaching and training, because the rest of it comes down to natural talents. Weakness fixing only prevents failure. It is strength building that leads to success. All right, so this was just a quick summary. You took the assessment, and we're going to be getting into that in the very next video. We've done our review of strengths-based development, and we know now the strengths are where the improvement happens, and the strengths, therefore, are where you should invest. Coming up next, we're going to get into your strengths, into your top 5. All right? So what will happen when we think about what is right with people rather than fixating on what is wrong with them? I'll see you in the next video. Go be strong.